All right, and we are live. Welcome, everybody, to another edition of Deconversion Stories. Sorry for the SD camera that I'm running today, but apparently my HD camera tends to eat up my processing speed and I crap out all the time. So I am improving my computer at some point, but it's going to cost a little bit. So I want something with definitely an i7 processing speed or better. So yeah, it'll happen, just maybe not right away. And anyways, today I have with me, she's known as Lucy Furr. You've probably seen her hanging out as a moderator in chats like with Mr. Atheist and stuff like that. And today we're going to hear her deconversion story and how that's affected her and, friends, family, that kind of thing. So anyways, go ahead and start us. Take us back to the beginning, I guess, of when you sort of started realizing this stuff may not be true. And take us on the journey to you becoming the atheist advocate that you are today.
Sure, absolutely. Hey, everybody, I'm Lucy. If you don't know me, like Neil said, am kind of known in the community as the moderator queen extraordinaire. I moderate Jimmy, Mr. Atheist channel. I also moderate a numerous amount of other atheist content creators. I'm also an admin on Mr. Atheist Discord, and that's just where you can find me. You can find me on Twitter as Lucy Furr, or you can find me in Discord as Lucy Furr as well. So my deconversion story is a little dark, if you will, because I went through a lot in my life. So from a young age, it started with, my grandfather was a preacher, and I kind of touched on this a little bit with AR the other night, because I was on AR's channel the other night. Mm-hmm. And the other night when I was talking to him about what brought me to the place of advocacy against bigotry and discrimination. And part of that goes back to when my grandfather was a preacher. Just a brief synopsis of what happened when I was a kid was, he basically was asked to be was asked to be beaten up, was asked to the alley, if you will, from the deacons in the church because he wanted to be more progressive in his preaching. So that kind of set a tone for me that, I didn't appreciate in the Christian community at all. That was right. Kind of the first moment. The following year, my parents put me in a Christian school for 1 year. It was a private Christian school. Not to go into the detail. If you want to hear more about that, you can look at AR's channel from last week. But definitely it changed me in a lot of ways. I was very bullied in that school. And
oh, really?
Yes, very much bullied. To the point of my parents pulling me out because I was the new kid and the principal was blaming me for things that other people were doing, and they actually wanted corporal punishment. They wanted to spank me, and my dad said, absolutely not. You're not putting your hands on my daughter, and came and grabbed me to the school. So, those two things happened before I was 8 years old. And so those two things changed me when I was younger. When I was a kid around, 4 to 6, I was the happiest child. I loved life. And I think a lot of kids that age are, but you know what I mean? Yeah. I was just a joyous, happy kid. I had absolutely wonderful parents. That is one thing.
Did you skip to school? Like I
probably, did? Probably at one point or another with bows in my hair and everything,
Yeah.
But when those two things happened, it changed me drastically. And when I went back into public schools, it was in the 4th grade. And it was really hard. I had developed pretty early on. By the age 10, I was already a C cup and had started my womanly cycles. So I had developed really early. And I was getting picked.
For the record, I still haven't started mine yet. I'm just kidding.
Right. But I still got picked on in public schools. I will say, though, the bullying between the Christian school and the public school were very different types of bullying. One had a more malevolent feeling to it, and that was definitely the Christian school. The public school was more of what you would consider your atypical type bullying, right? Not that any bullying is okay. I don't agree with any of it, but two different breeds of bullying, if you will. By the time I was in 6th grade, I was suicidal. I hated life and I wanted to die. And I turned into a very depressed, rebellious, didn't want to live anymore person at all. And I was in 6th grade. And
wow.
At the same time, I ended up getting extremely deathly sick. I got the flu, and the flu led to pneumonia. And I ended up out of school for 45 days and in the hospital for 31 with pneumonia, and they thought I was going to die. My mom,
really? Wow.
Yeah, my mom still tells me stories to this day that was the scariest moment of her life was when I was so sick, because the doctors were literally ready to send me to Vanderbilt in Nashville, to the child care critical unit, because they could not get me better no matter what they did. But luckily, somehow the doctors figured out that the medication that they had me on was for the wrong type of pneumonia, and they switched it. They were treating me for viral pneumonia, and it was actually bacterial. So it requires two totally different types of medication.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
So they switched it, and within 3 days, I was out of the hospital. But in that time, I lost all my hair from dehydration. I mean, in that time frame that I was in the hospital, I probably lost a good 30 pounds. And when you're that young, you can't afford to lose 30 pounds, right? So, that was a scary time. Being that close to death is scary. When you're a child, you don't understand it, right? So fast forward, I did heal from that, but fast forward a few years and some other changes happened. And my freshman year of high school, I met a guy, how it is, your first love or romance or whatever. And about 8 months into us being, boyfriend and girlfriend in high school, he started abusing me very badly. I mean, he would do it right there in the hallways of the school. He didn't care.
Oh, shit.
And no one did anything. Literally. Small town Bible Belt USAA, and not one person had the balls to stand up for me, because he was the captain of the football team. And later on, he raped me. And that was actually how I lost my virginity, was due to him. So I turned to drugs. I got really depressed. I didn't tell anyone, because it was me against the captain of the football team. Who was going to believe me? His father.
Yeah, right.
His father was a prominent preacher, and his mom worked for the school board. He was the captain of the football team. No one's going to believe me. Nobody was going to believe me.
I'm so sorry you had to go through this bullshit.
Yeah. I've healed a lot. I mean,
that's good.
My parents put me in therapy because they didn't know about the rape. I don't think I told anyone about the rape for like 3 or 4 years. It took me a long time to actually admit that was what happened, But the abuse.
Well, hold on. When you did come forth about the rape, did anybody want to do something about it? Like your parents or your family at all? Did they want to go against this guy or get him charged somehow?
No, nobody did anything.
Why? What was their reasoning for that?
I think everybody thought it had been 3 or 4 years. Time had passed. What was the point? And nobody wanted to act on it, So.
Yeah, you're right. At that point, it would literally be just your word against theirs, because there wouldn't be any leftover evidence of it and stuff like that. So, yeah.
No. the changing moment for my parents and why my parents put me in therapy wasn't because of the rape. It was because of the abuse, because my mom one day on my upper arm up here, and I actually still have a scar a little bit from it. He had gotten mad at me and bit down into my arm to the point that it like bruised me and changed colors. And it was that yellow, purple, black bruise.
Yeah.
And it had broke the skin, and my mom saw it. And there was no way I could avoid what happened. She happened to see it when my best friend was with me too. And my best friend was real quick to say, it's because this jackass did this to her. You know, I mean, I don't think she cursed in front of my mom, but you know, she was like, this is what happened. And so my parents had me in therapy. But then my parents took a weird turn. Like, okay, I want to be very clear before I start talking about my parents at all, because I love my parents. They are really good people, really caring, really lovely people who loved me through everything. And trust me, there were some points that I was not lovable in my journey, but they loved me anyway. So I want to be very clear that my parents are really good people.
Lucky.
Yes. But they are also very Christian.
Yeah.
And when all of this was going on in my teenage years, where I was really rebellious and I had been partying, you know, and I was taking pain pills, I was taking speed mainly, and I was doing coke, and I was smoking weed, and I was drinking, and I was partying and doing all of this stuff. At the same time, my parents were going through the process of trying to get me to go to church with them, to meet with like a community pastor to anoint me and close doors, because they thought I had opened up doors and was being possessed.
Oh, really?
Yes. I kid you not. There was even at one point where they held me down on the bed with the Bible, trying to pray over me and get rid of the demons in me. Now, let me just say this. I love my parents. They're great people, but that was a horrible mistake on their part. They've owned up to it. They've been accountable to it. They've apologized for it. And we've moved on, right? But that was a really hard time. And all of that, every single bit of that, is just the tip of the iceberg with what I've been through. And I'm really surprised I'm not an alcoholic or drug addict today. And then I've made a life for myself, and it's a beautiful life. Because, you know, I graduated high school, and then that November I got pregnant with my son, and his father was in the military in a way. And I married him because I got pregnant, because I thought that's what I was supposed to do, being a preacher's granddaughter. I should have never married him. We should have never been married, ever, never. But it happened. We did have a beautiful son, and my son will be 19 next month, and he is the most amazing young man ever.
That's great.
I wouldn't trade having him for anything. There is nothing in this planet that I would trade him for. But his father became very addicted to drugs and basically snorted us out of house and home, and embezzled like $13,000 from his work. And it was, I mean, I remember sitting there with like my 3-year-old son, and our lights get cut off because he didn't pay the light bill. And I remember my parents coming over.
Where did all the embezzlement money go?
Up his nose.
Oh, wow.
I mean, you want me to be honest? That's
sure. Well, yeah, that's the point, right? But
right.
That's I have a friend that went through something similar. He didn't do really any embezzling, but all of his money went up his nose as well too, and he was in a lot of hot water, and it took a bunch of us to pull him out of that.
Yeah. I'm going to be honest with you. That was a really dark time in my life, because I was really young. You know, I had my son when I was 19, so I was like 21, 22. I did not know what to do. I was so lost, just completely lost. I didn't know what to do. And I remember my parents getting those big, huge, you know, those big, like 39-gallon garden heavy duty garbage bags for like outside. my parents bringing a whole box over, and literally we packed up my shit and my son's shit in garbage bags. And my parents took me home with them.
Mm-hmm.
And then his dad was threatening suicide and ended up in a mental hospital for 3 days. And it was a
Your
lot.
husband's dad.
My husband's what?
You said his dad, and I'm assuming.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Your
My
husband's
son's
dad.
dad. My son's dad.
Oh, your son's dad. Okay.
My son's dad. Sorry. Getting all of this confused. My ex-husband,
Okay.
my son's father, ended
Right.
up in, yeah. So, needless to say, it was really difficult. I mean, early on, all through my life, it was like struggle after struggle after struggle. And then after my divorce from him, I felt free for the first time ever, where I felt empowered.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like, okay, what do I want? Now's the time for me to figure me out. I had been through so much already at such a young age, and I hadn't even started to consider who am I? What do I want? And at first I started down the path of paganism, actually.
Yeah,
And
been there too.
polytheism. Yeah. And I really actually quite enjoyed it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, me too.
It's so peaceful and it's calming, and I know that it brought me so much peace.
Yeah, I found just, because I had many friends that were also into this stuff, especially the Wicca stuff and whatnot. And it was just gathering around and having the candles lit and doing all these neat little incantations or whatever the fuck we were doing, raising cones of power, all that shit. But it was just the community of it, which you can get anywhere anyways, right? You can get it secularly, religiously, paganism. You can get it anywhere, really.
Right.
But it was just the whole ritualistic thing of just being around people that gave a shit about you, and you like too, right?
And I still do some things, like I still meditate, and I still have
nothing to do with that, though.
No, and I still have like a stone that just feels really good to me, and it's like my meditation stone.
I have a little amethyst pyramid that I still have.
Yeah. So. Oh, I still have a whole collection of stones and quartz and rocks and everything else. But I still have my altar. I still have my altar. It's packed in a box. I never got rid of it. Yeah, because
Ocean would be proud.
It's sentimental to me because of that time in my life. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, that time in my life was a big change.
Yep.
That was my last pivotal moment, if you will. And I remember telling my parents, who are very Christian, and I was like, so I just want to tell you, because this is a huge part of who I am, and I refuse to hide any part of who I am. If I have to hide any part of who I am going forward, the cost is too high. I've hid who I am for too long, scared. I was scared of the bullies in elementary school. I was scared to stand up for myself through rape and through abuse. I was scared in my marriage and never did anything about it until I had no other choice. I'm done being scared. I'm done being in fear all the time, and I am done not having control and power of my life. And this is who I am. You either love me through it all and love me for who I am, or whatever, at that point. Toxic is toxic. It doesn't matter who the person is. And if you are surrounded by people who don't accept you for who you are, and the cost of being around them is a part of who you are, the cost is too high. Yep. And I do believe that. And my parents were just very loving, I will say. We had really good heart to heart about what happened when I was younger, and the thinking I was possessed and what that made me feel like. And they apologized, and that's when we just really mended the fences. And I now have a fabulous relationship with my parents and wouldn't change anything. They're still married. They just celebrated 43 years together. And
wow, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's near unheard of these days.
Yeah, I know. I love them. And the way my dad looks at my mom, gosh, he's just enamored by her still. It's beautiful. But after being in paganism for a while, I mean, and I still have some experiences I can't explain. There are some things I can't explain that I've been through and that have happened. I've been talking to Ocean a little bit about that. He and I have been kind of talking through some of those things, but some of it science has explained, and I've been able to work through that through science and doctors and things.
Sure. By the way, Ocean is one of my best friends.
Ocean's one of my favorite people.
Yeah.
He's one of my favorite humans, for sure.
And I just actually booked an interview with Callan. I'm not sure if you're familiar with her.
Yes, I love Callan.
Yeah, she's amazing. And Ocean says he'll most likely jump in the after party for that too, which you're also welcome to do as well, Lucy. So.
I love Callan.
Yeah.
I love so many people in this community. So many people bring me joy. I mean, there's just good people in this community. And I feel so honored to be a part of this community and to be recognized as part of this community. It means a lot to me. I work really hard to support those I believe in. And I really believe it started with Mr. Atheist. I really, to my core, believe in what he's doing.
Oh, Jimmy's an amazing human being.
Yes.
I'm lucky enough to know him a little bit. I have yet to meet him in person because he couldn't make Faithless Forum, but
he is beyond amazing.
The community is fantastic. That's all I can tell you.
He's beyond amazing. He is so caring and considerate. I mean, behind the scenes, he cares so much more about the people around him than he does himself. He is so selfless. He was actually, so I found Rachel Oates first. That's actually
Rachel's involved.
Started my journey with Rachel. But that led quickly into finding Mr. Atheist and then Telltale, and it goes on from there, you know?
Yeah.
But Mr. Atheist, watching his channel it was kind of the catalyst that made me go from atheo-pagan, if you will, to just atheist. Because at that point, I had gotten to a place where I felt like I was a godless pagan. Like I still embrace my rituals because they still bring me peace and stuff.
Whatever works for you, always embrace that.
But now I feel like I'm just a confused ninja because I have no clue. That's why I'm doing some reading and studying. Ocean has a reading list that I'm looking at. And
I got a pair of nunchucks if you want.
Sure.
I made them myself.
So, that's a joke. Like in One Atheist, One Witch Discord, one of my friends, Angelica, she's in the chat, I think, Mistress Angelica, but she said, can there be a role for someone who isn't quite sure where they land? And I'm like, confused ninja, I'll make that for you. And I made her that role.
We need t-shirts.
So now it's just like this joke that we're just confused ninjas, right? So, but yeah, so I mean, it's been a journey, to say the least, with some dark moments, some highlights, but at the end of the day, I'm a huge advocate for this community because I believe in what it stands for. Excellent. I believe in freedom from religion. I believe in no bigotry, no discrimination. People are people, treat them like people.
Yeah.
So many content creators are giving that message through and through and through and through and through, and it's a message I can get behind.
That's what I try to do.
Yeah, for sure. And man, there's just some amazing people in this community. So many amazing people. There's up and coming new content creators that are amazing, such as yourself, such as progressive.
Sassy Atheist in the chat.
Sassy Atheist, yeah.
And she says to say she loves you.
I love you too.
She's amazing too. She's got a huge heart and a great big laugh that never stops. It's like somebody with a Chatty Cathy doll just pulls.
Her energy is something else.
I know.
I know.
Yeah.
And there's just so many amazing people in this community. It's hard to not fall in love with the community and not want to be a part of a change and be a part of the movement and be a part of the voice. So that's what brought me here, right?
Kat says she loves you too.
I adore Kat. Oh my gosh, she's the sweetest. She's just the sweetest. But yeah, so I mean, Christian to pagan to atheist to confused ninja.
Yeah. What's the next level after that? Confounded Shaolin monk. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just making shit up as I go here.
Yeah. So
neutral Neanderthal.
That's my summarized story. I mean, that's really it.
Well, let me ask you some questions here.
Sure.
When you how did you come out to your folks? Like, obviously you went in progressive steps. You went to the paganism, and then I'm assuming your folks figured that out, or did you tell them about that first?
I've told them everything.
Okay.
I told them the paganistic path and the atheist path.
And how did they respond to that stuff?
The pagan path was a little bit better of a response, honestly, than the atheist.
Really?
Yeah, I'm surprised by it. But yeah, so when I told my mom said, I'm not really surprised. I'm like, okay. She said, I see what you post on Facebook. It's very hippy dippy paganist. I kind of figured. And I'm like, okay.
Hippy dippy.
Hippy dippy paganist.
Y'all wear tie-dye and light candles and sing Kumbaya.
Well, I am wearing a shirt right now that's a Jimi Hendrix vintage that says Voodoo Child. So
he's like in my top 10 all-time favorite musicians. So.
Me too. Gosh, I love him, and he can play guitar.
Sassy says she's laughing at me because I compared her to the Chatty Cathy doll. It's because you're just like it. It's like if you had a string and we pulled it, you just keep going and going. Kid.
Oh my God. I'm looking at the chat right now. That's why I'm looking away. Oh my God.
That's all right.
Lucy draws a good crowd. Thank you, Inquisitive Quandary. I don't know that I draw a good crowd, but thank you.
IQ's good people, man. He was very gracious, and I ended up having Mindshift podcast guy here this weekend. His name's Clint.
Yeah.
It was another guy you should talk to too. He always talks about stuff like this, and I think he'd be a good story on his podcast.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
I can put you two in touch.
Sure.
And he was supposed to be IQ was supposed to be my interview on Saturday, but I had no idea what we were doing. We ended up doing the lunch thing at the local pub, and then going downtown to Gastown, that kind of thing. And which I ended up not actually going because they left without me, but I ended up somewhere else anyways. So we rescheduled our chat for, I think, I can't even remember now. I think it's 27th or something like that.
Oh, that's cool.
August, so, yeah. But
I mean, I'm not opposed to doing interviews and different things. I will never be a content creator, just to be honest with everybody. Don't ask me to be.
Well, folks, ignore the link to her YouTube channel in the description then. But you can follow her on Twitter, and I have that link there.
You can subscribe to me, but you've
got 41.
See anything.
For somebody that puts no content out, you've already got 41 subscribers.
Well, thank you. Thank you to those who subscribe, even though I have like no content. But yeah, I love being on other people's channels and just talking about things. I think it's a lot of fun. I have a lot of fun doing this type of stuff, but I would not enjoy creating a video by myself. So
no, just isn't in you to do it, or
no.
You see, I love talking to people, and I figured this is probably the best way for me to do it, especially with people that I've become friends with in the community for sure. And as I'm just a chatterbox really when you get me going. So, so basically I love talking to people, and this was a great way for me to do it. And I didn't see a lot of deconversion story type channels out there.
No,
and I took my cue from Seth Andrews, right? Because that's what he started doing when it first came out, right?
Seth Andrews and RN Raw are like two of my bucket list people.
Oh, I've met them both, and they're fucking amazing guys, and I've had both of them on the show, and they were great shows, both of those ones.
RN Raw would be like, I just want to have a beer with him. That's it.
Well, if you're there with him, and he's got beer, he will not let you be empty-handed. Trust me on that. I know this.
I'm going to try to make it to Faithless Forum next year. I really want to come.
That would be so cool. I'd love to give you a big hug in person.
Yeah, I really want to come to. And What the Craft, I saw there that you said you're sad, no Lucy content. How about once a week I do a video just for you?
A private one.
I'll send you just a private hi. And today in Lucy's world, my cats are tearing up my blinds again. And
I saw that earlier.
oh, my cats! Did you see that?
Yeah, climbing up on the. I guess you've got a cat tree beside one of them, and it was kind of pulling them aside and looking up.
I turned the light off to it because it was glaring right into the camera. But yeah, I've got a cat tree behind me, and then I don't even know where my cats are right now. Who knows? They may have gone to bed with my husband because my husband has to be up at 4 a.m. for work, so he went on to bed.
Me too. I start at 5, but yeah, I get up at when my alarm goes off at 4. I hit the snooze once, and then I crawl out of bed. So
yeah, but it's like 4:45 your time, right?
Yeah, it's 4:45 here for me.
It's 7:45 for me, so he's in bed.
I know, but
yeah.
It's weird because I'm the guy that gets like 6 hours sleep a night, so I probably won't go to bed till 9:30. So
right, I'll go to bed whenever we're done because I don't have to be at work super early tomorrow. I can kind of sleep in and do whatever. So,
well, hold on. What the craft said, 604 Atheist, you got it on record. What do I have on record?
That I said I would do a video for her every week.
Oh, okay. Now I'm like, wait, is she talking to the hug I was going to give you, or the video you're making, or something else?
Everything. She's got it all on record now.
That's not if I delete the video. No, I'm just kidding.
Download it. Someone download it.
Hey, quick, get on it now. It's not going to get deleted. Don't even worry about it. Hell, I'm not even deleting people that I don't even get along with now. Wow. I mean, was it Essence of Thought was what I did to him or interviewed them a while ago.
Yeah.
And Godless Iowan was another one I interviewed a while ago, and they've all blocked me since then.
I'm blocked, and I didn't do anything.
You were just part of the group. So they do it like a mass block, and that's just...
That's exactly right. It's just because I'm friends with you guys. I get blocked from people.
The 2 capital T's and button. Someone knows Jimmy.
I get blocked. I mean, people come after me about Jimmy all the time.
Really? Like, I can't even see why they would.
Oh,
like, he's such a great guy.
You have no idea. Like,
I heard somebody call him a transphobe once. I'm like, hello, he's a member of the fucking community. What are you talking about?
No, like, seriously, we have some people from Jimmy's Discord in the chat, and they can tell you we had quite an eventful weekend with people attacking me on Twitter and Discord just because I'm friends with Jimmy.
Sassy. Jimmy's a snob. He's not once you get to know him. Trust me.
Sassy, I loved you until that comment. We're going to have a talk now.
And Tony Designs, the thing that caused all the blocking, I really don't want to bring that shit up anymore because we're past it now. At least we are anyways. We're on to bigger and better things.
Yeah.
But let's just say somebody made a questionable video and some people that stood behind him hoping that he would clear things up were being shunned by another community. So. And
Tony's Designs, you're right. What happened this weekend that you saw was creepy as all get out. You're absolutely emphatically right. And I have to take action to protect myself. So.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And that's what we're all here for. That's what community is for, too. When you're having issues with somebody, bring in some people that you know might be able to give you a backup or a hand or something.
I did that yesterday, and I got told that they were bandwagoning for me. And I was like, no.
No, exactly. These are people that care about me.
I said to the person, I'm like, I've earned this backup based on my actions. And not just because I tell people what to do. I'm not a dictator. And they said, well, Stalin earned his status based on actions too. I'm like, do not compare me to Stalin.
What the fuck is that even?
Like,
what?
Seriously, comparing me to Stalin. Like, what?
Oh, man. Some people just reach for straws.
And Sassy Atheist was there Sassy Atheist was there. So was One Atheist, One Witch. And they were like, what are you talking about? And then One Atheist, One Witch was like, Ben, you're gone. You don't talk to Lucy like that. You don't do that. But
exactly. There's no need for it, right? If you can't have civil discourse, then you can piss off.
yeah. But I mean, all in all, I'm really happy with where I am. I am still learning. I am going to read some of the reading list content that Ocean's provided just because I find it interesting and I'd like to learn more about it. But at the end of the day, I am an atheist. This is where I've landed. I'm fine and happy with that. And I just love this community. I'm so happy to be a part of this community. It means so much to me.
Well, we're happy to have you because you've proven yourself to be a good friend already. And I really only just met you, like a few months ago?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
All right. So I'll pull out some stuff from the chat here for you. Well, you've got it there too. Yeah, I realize it was a joke about Jimmy Sassy. That's okay.
Yeah, it's a joke too, Sassy.
Someone says they hear your accent. It was Angie Dell 66 says, I missed the beginning. Where is Lucy from? Her accent sounds like mine.
I'm in Tennessee.
Tennessee.
I'm in the good old South.
Good old South. Hey, man. You guys know how to make the best barbecue down there, so.
Hey, and we have the Moonshine Distillery and Jack Daniel's Distillery, so.
I like Honey Jack.
Just saying.
That's pretty good. But most of the time, I'm like the single malt Scotch guy right there. So there you go.
Gotcha. I am just
I'm not being paid by Glenfiddich, just so you know. Was in the product placement.
I'm a simple gal. I just like beer. Just give me a Bud Light. I'm good.
Oh, I'm sorry. Just trying to catch up with the stuff there. Okay.
Do I really, Sassy, have to say I do declare again?
I do declare. I thought that was like Georgia type stuff.
I do declare. Or
hickory smoked or winger based? That's a question for you. I guess barbecue related?
Yeah, Tennessee is more hickory instead of vinegar. Vinegar is more Carolina based. So.
What did I say? Winger? Vinegar.
We do have a wing festival here that is amazing. People come from all over for it. And I'm telling you what, you go with Tupperware containers because if you buy a ticket, you get up to 5 samples from each vendor. And there's usually about 100 vendors. So people bring Tupperware containers and just throw it all in the Tupperware. And then they have wings for days. It's the most amazing festival.
I love wings.
I like fried pickles.
Oh, yeah.
They're so flippin' good. Who knew?
I know they are. Oh, Bible Belt Atheist says he's one state over from you. Oh, excuse me.
We're neighbors.
Just about. Disciples of... Oh, yeah, I know who that is.
Cat, it's in September.
We just had Rib Fest up here when I was in the Okanagan, which is pretty much the desert area of BC, really.
It is really hard to be in the South and not love everything that is horrible for you. Fried foods, sugary foods, cornbread and pinto beans and fried taters, the whole thing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you had me at food, basically. So it's like anything to do with that.
Do I have minions?
Minion? You mean the little yellow guys?
I don't know that I have minions, but Tony Design says he volunteers to be one of my minions, so I guess I have one.
I'm wondering how Lucy runs hell.
So, well...
Do you hand out ice cream? Because that's kind of what I want to know.
I run hell with, let's see. Let me, hang on just a minute. I'm going to flip it around.
Sure.
I run hell. Hold on. Why is it not letting me flip my camera. There we go. I run hell with the Sword of Omens from Thundercats.
What? Is that seriously?
It is. It's the Sword of Omens.
Oh.
And then my Dragon Dagger.
I have one of those.
Yep.
It's in storage.
And then I don't think you can see this.
It's pretty dark.
It's Dimebag Daryl and Dimebag Daryl. That's how I run hell.
Oh, man. I literally cried the day he was killed.
Yeah, me too. So that's how...
another name for Discord.
Do what?
Is hell another name for Discord? You could be.
Sometimes, absolutely. Like, it feels like that at times, for sure.
Billy Bung. Poutine Fest. I'm down for that. I'm Canadian, so it's cool.
I did see someone put in the chat that I have beautiful hair. Thank you very much. It's a hot mess today. Thank you. So, can we smoke fat blunts in hell? Yes, as long as you share. Puff, puff, pass.
Exactly. I mean, I've got some right over there that I'll be twisting up a little later, but do some twist and shout, as I like to say. Not so much shouting, though. So the Raging Atheist is going to be doing a video later tonight, you guys, just so you know. It might be type that in the chat there. It's going to be about the evolution of Jesus.
Go subscribe to the Raging Atheist. He's pretty awesome.
Already subscribed.
So is Atheist Rationale. And
Scientist Mel just she's now doing one of her weekly Oral Audacity videos. She was my last interview before you.
Yeah, I saw that. My first interview that I watched that you had was actually Atheist Rationale. That was the first video I was able to catch.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That was a while ago.
Yeah. I've been watching you for a while, and I absolutely love AR. Like, he's like a kid. I could be his mom.
Sharpest whip, that kid. Man, he's awesome.
But
and he
love
did
him
so much for the NIFB takedown group. Like, it was insane, the amount of work.
I know. He's so smart. We had the best time the other night on his channel. We just laughed and had such a good time. He's such a good guy.
Mm-hmm.
Progressive Liberal, I think, wants to have me on, and then the Geek Room invited me on too. But
you have to go on the Geek Room. Those guys are awesome.
I know. Tatted Atheist was like, "Hey, what are you doing next Saturday at 1?"
I'm 24, Mom.
Okay, son. Jimmy calls me Mom too. That's a little weird though. He does. Like, seriously, one day.
Does he?
Yes. One day in Discord. I'm 10 years older than Jimmy. But one day in Discord, he had come in and was talking and everything else. He went into voice chat, and I didn't go into voice chat. And he typed in the general chat, "Lucy, I'm in the voice chat. Why aren't you here?" And I'm like, "Okay, I'll come." And I went in and I'm like, "Hey, Jimmy, I'm here." And he goes, "Mom, pay attention to me. Pay attention to me."
He's a funny guy.
We actually have that type of relationship where we're like family, you know. It's just that type of dynamic. So
I didn't even see Osman in here. He snuck in. I'm trying to find where the hell was it.
No, everybody, don't call me Mom. There are people in this chat who I'm not old enough to be their mom.
I saw Jim Majors in. He's under the new name, Disciple of Kairos or whatever that.
Oh, okay.
I don't think he's still in there. Thanks for subbing, by the way, Osman. Iron Ninja.
I love this chat.
Yeah, we've both been kind of distracted by this thing now.
Well, yeah, it happens though. Sometimes you end up looking at the conversation and
I'm here, my love. Good, Jim. Good.
I'm here, my love. Yeah. Who gets drunk off one beer?
No. Good Lord, this is already my third. I'm just kidding. It's only number 2. It takes a lot more than just a couple of beers to get me drunk. I'm not a cheap date. Let's put it that way.
I am. I'm not gonna lie. There's no point in me trying to hide it. I will. I don't think it works through virtual.
Yeah,
that way.
Probably not.
No.
Well, was there anything else you wanted to share before we shut her down, or we can just go right into an after party if you want?
We can go to an after party. All I want to say is be kind to each other, please.
Absolutely.
It starts with you, and you may feel like you're just one voice, but find a community where you can join with the other voices, and you will be strong and working to, you'll be strong working together. So,
strength in numbers.
Yep.
I absolutely agree.
Hold hands and sing Kumbaya as often as possible.
Atheist rationale. I know you can hold your liquor. Nobody knows it, but we went on a date once and he tried to get me drunk, so that's how he knows. I'm just kidding.
Well, I'm not gonna hate on you if you like them young.
Yeah, I guess that. No, it's creepy. No.
I mean, he's 24, so he's legal.
True. I go by the general rule. I don't even know if it's still a thing, but back in the day, we used to say half your age plus 7 is considered okay. But I don't even know if that's still a thing. But I don't know. But that was the old saying back in the day, anyway.
Well, half my age plus 7 is.
It's like true story.
is 26. So.
Right.
26 is still too young for me. Nope.
Yeah. Gone are the days when I was dating 20-year-olds. I think the last 20-year-old I dated, she was actually 24 at the time. I was 38, I think. So, and we were together until I passed 40. So,
I'm 38 now.
You're 38 now? Okay.
Yes.
I remember it like it was yesterday.
I remember 37 like it was yesterday. It was such a simpler time.
Yeah. Yes, it was. And I had a much cooler car back then, too. Oh, Bionic Dance has something else now. You can check that out, too, because Kate's amazing.
Everybody has stuff going on.
Yeah, it always happens.
Hi, unholy Sarah. I love Sarah.
Oh, unholy Sarah.
She's like the sweetest. I love her.
Yeah, she's great. And I'll be chatting with her, too.
Are you? That's going to be awesome. I can't wait to watch that.
Yeah, it's coming up pretty soon. It'll be on the 29th.
I watch all of yours. Even if I can't catch it at the time, I always go back and replay.
Yeah, I don't watch my stuff because I experienced them. So
I don't watch, like, I didn't go back and watch AR's thing with me the other night. I didn't have any interest in checking myself out.
Yeah, right.
So, I was like, no. My husband came into the bedroom. He's like, "Are you watching your show?" And I'm like, "No." He's like, "Well, what are you watching?" I don't even remember what I was watching, but I was watching something else entirely. And I'm like, "No, I don't have any interest to watch me and see how Southern I sound. I know what I look like and I know what I sound like. I'm good."
Well, I got some pretty good. The next 5, I think, are going to be pretty good interviews coming up. I have a reschedule for Forsaking Faith because my computer decided to implode that day, and we could not get it fixed. So I was chatting with them outside of it, and I'm just like, let's reschedule because I have no idea if this shit's going to work. And they'll be on the Monday, and you guys might know this guy. He's fairly known. A few people know who he is, but his name's Drew McCoy. And he's also known as Genetically Modified Skeptic.
Yeah.
I'll be talking with him on this coming Wednesday. So
I'm so looking forward to that.
Should be a good one because Drew, and don't be surprised if he razzes the shit out of me for kicking my ass at Mario Kart. So. Because I was all cocky, I could take you, and he's like, "Oh, really?" He's like, "When's the last time you played?" I'm like I don't know, like 10 years ago. He goes, "Oh, I played like 8 days ago." I'm like, "Oh, that's it, I'm dead." Sort of thing.
Tatted, what do you mean? Hi, Lucy, I can see you not listening.
What
does that mean?
Yeah.
What are you trying to say? What are you even saying? I don't understand what language you're speaking right now.
I don't know.
Sorry, my son came in.
That's quite all right. He's allowed to do that, right? Okay.
He's allowed to be in this house.
He's allowed? Okay. All right. Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got tattoos. I've got.
Oh, look at that. The old goddess tattoo, I think is what that is.
Yeah, and then if you can see it.
Right on.
And then can you
Oh,
see
yeah.
it? And yeah, I've got more, but those are just the ones I can show on camera.
Without my video being demonetized, is that what you're saying?
Yes, exactly. Those are the ones I can show on camera.
And Ocean shows up at the end. Hello, Ocean.
Hi, Ocean.
Well, we're going to do an after party. So if any of you guys would like to be involved in the after party, and you're not a member of my usual suspects group, send me a message on Twitter and I'll give you a link to join. Now, as you know, Hangouts can only handle up to 10 people at a time. So,
Ocean, you need to come to the after party hangout.
he might. Oh, Jim wants to jump in. Absolutely. Okay, I'll send you a link, Jim. All right. Anyway, well, Lucy, this was a lot of fun.
I had fun with you. Yeah.
We covered your story pretty good, and again, I'm really sorry that you went through a lot of that stuff that you went through, but I after chatting with you now, I realized it made you a very strong person.
Yes.
So, unfortunately, you had to go that route to become a strong person. But shit, man, when I see you next time, like in person, if I see you, when I see you, because it'll happen sometime, you got a great big Canadian hug coming your way. So.
Yay! I'll take it.
All right. And thanks everyone for tuning in. There's a lot of other creators in the chat today, so go check out their channels, like Staggerson Jags, who just showed up to you, Raging Atheist, of course, Ocean Keltoy, Bible Belt Atheist, Sassy Atheist. There's too many to name. Disciples of Kairos, whatever. What the hell are you calling yourself now, Jane? Anyways, and there's probably more that I'm not seeing. But anyway, they're all fantastic creators. They make great content, so go check them all out. And if you're not subbed to them, well, check them out first. And if you feel they're worth subbing to, then sub to them. If you're not subbed to me, why aren't you subbed to me? I do these kinds of things all the time, and they're usually pretty fun. There's ups, there's downs, and everything in between. So you never know what to expect on my show. But it's usually I try to make it as fun as possible. And as I usually say at the end of these things, like the late, great, you know what? I should give you another thank you for doing this, because it's pretty brave what you talked about today. So thanks again, Lucy.
Thank you.
Remember what I say at the end of these things, guys, as the late, great Christopher Hitchens always used to say, it's called faith because it's not knowledge. And we'll see you guys next time. Stay tuned for the after party. I'll put a fresh link out.